Hi, this is Jenny Brav of Radiant Wholeness Healing. In this two-part series, I'm going to guide you on how you can do a tapping session on an issue that you have chosen rather than one of my choosing. And this is particularly good if you have some experience already with tapping. If you don't, I would recommend you do some of my other tap along videos first until you get a hang of the flow and the tapping points. And then this is a good one to do if you want to go a little bit deeper and do it using your own words rather than the words that I have chosen. So in this part of the series, I'm going to lead you in a guided meditation to be able to drop into the issue you want to look at. And you don't need to write anything down during the meditation. There will be time for that after. And then when you're done with the meditation, I'm going to guide you through the questions that you already felt into during the meditation and have you write them down. So it's good to have paper or a computer or whatever you use to write nearby. Water can also be helpful, tissues. Sometimes emotions can come up. And during the meditation, if emotions do come up, which sometimes they do, if you already have a tapping practice, feel free to tap during the meditation as well. So without further ado, I'm going to have you sit comfortably. If you need to pause the video to do any of what I just said, feel free to. Otherwise, just sit comfortably. The guided meditation will be maybe 5 to 7 minutes. You can lie down too, but if there's a risk of falling asleep, I would recommend being seated. And I'll ring the bell once for us to drop in, and then also at the end of the meditation. And just closing your eyes or keeping them somewhat closed, however you tend to meditate, is fine. Taking nice slow breaths. With each in-breath, inviting in a sense of ease and relaxation. And with each out-breath, inviting anything that's ready to release. Any tension, unwanted thoughts, stuck emotions. With each breath, inviting yourself to drop in a little bit more deeply into the moment, into your body. And as you do, I invite you to bring up some issue that you're wanting to explore today. And there might be multiple, but I invite you to pick one, just whatever is calling for your attention a little bit more. And this can be an emotion like anxiety, overwhelm, fear. It can also be specific, fear of failure, anxiety in social situations, anger, judgment. It could be a belief that is really present right now, such as I'm not enough, I'm all alone. It could be a coping strategy, such as distracting, perfectionism, avoidance. clinging to things. Just noticing whatever's calling for your attention without judgment, if possible. And as you bring it up, noticing what emotions come up for you around the issue you're working with. Even if the issue itself is an emotion, it might pull up some secondary emotions like frustration, hopelessness, confusion. And as you pull up the emotions, just noticing if there are any negative thoughts about yourself, negative self-talk, your inner critic, has anything to say about the issue, about you. For example, get over it. I can't believe we're still here. Whatever it might be. Just noticing if there's any negative self-dialogue. And as you do, start noticing any body sensations, and where you feel all of this in your body and what it feels like. For example, it might be clenched feeling in the stomach, bracing in the shoulders, butterflies in the heart, tight jaw, jitteriness in the legs. Or another possibility for this is that you leave your body entirely, which is particularly common if there's a history of trauma, a pattern of dissociation. And now noticing if this feels like a familiar feeling. And if so, maybe ask yourself if there was an age associated with this, or an age range with when you first started feeling something similar. What age might it be? You could also trace this feeling back in time. And it might not be the exact same trigger or catalyst, but just a similar feeling, similar body sensation. And if nothing comes up for this, that's totally fine. You can just breathe into the physical sensations. And now imagine that it's maybe a year from now, 6 months from now, a few years. The time frame doesn't matter, but that you're on the other side of this. You've released whatever belief, coping strategy, pattern. And just feel into what that feels like. How you might be living your life, how you might be feeling. What impact that would have. I invite you to slowly open your eyes. If you need a moment to come back into this space, feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, I invite you to pick up your piece of paper or whatever it is you have to write with. And now we're going to answer the questions now that you've really gotten a sense of what might be here or started to. Things might get clearer as you write. And so the first question is, what issue are you wanting to work with today? And then I invite you to rate the issue from 0 to 10, 10 being the most impactful in your life. And this can be an average, that can be when you're most triggered, it can be now, in this moment, whatever makes most sense for you. And this isn't scientific, this is just a barometer to sense back in at the end after we've done the tapping in the second part, just to see if the charge on it has diminished at all. And then the second question is, once you've finished writing that one, what emotions come up for you around your issue when you think about it? And if you want to rate the different emotions, feel free to do that too. And then again, you can track the charge later on. And sometimes one emotion will go way down and another one might actually go up. For example, often anger is a first tier emotion that's there almost as a bodyguard to help protect more vulnerable emotions. And as we tap, if the anger starts decreasing, other emotions like powerlessness, fear, might actually get higher as we start tapping. So again, it's just a barometer. A sense of where we want to go next, or what's the next layer that's wanting attention. The third question is, what does your inner critic have to say about this? And that's not our inner cheerleader. A lot of us around when we struggle have an inner cheerleader. It's okay, we can do this, and that's great. We definitely want to bring that part in as well. And right now we're really focusing on some of the deeper habitual things that might come up. So these are the negative self-thoughts, the inner critic, some of the things you're telling yourself about this. The fourth question, and again, feel free to pause if you have more to write. The fourth question is, where do you feel this in your body and what does it feel like? And again, a perfect alternative answer to this question could be, I feel numb, I dissociate, I'm not in my body. And sometimes some parts might be numb, dissociated, other parts might be really tight, triggered, activated. And then the fifth question, and you can always skip this if nothing came up for you, is an age range of when you think this might have evolved or developed as a feeling, as a belief. Usually this is in childhood or adolescence, maybe early adulthood. Usually it can be earlier. Sometimes, even if we don't have a conscious memory, some people can trace it back into the womb as a response to things the mother was experiencing, the birth mother. Sometimes we just have a sense we came in with it. So you might just write down an age or an age range if there was a specific situation happening at the time or a specific memory. Feel free to write that down in a sentence. And then the last two questions are, how would you be feeling and living your life without this? And if you want, if it feels accessible, feel free to write it down as if it were a present tense feeling. So you could write it in the conditional, I would be, but you could also play with doing it in the present tense. I feel free, I'm light, I'm trusting that I'm taken care of. I'm glowing and radiant. I'm attracting the perfect home, job, partner. And finally, last question. What new beliefs would you like to replace the old beliefs with? If you want, you can even look at what you wrote about what your inner critic is saying to you. You could write the opposite if that feels really aligned and resonant with you. Or it could also be a new belief you would like to have about the world, about other people. Beautiful. And when you're done writing, you can just take a nice deep breath. tap all over your body. Shake it out. And touch something that feels grounding. Thank you so much for following along with that. And if you're interested in doing the tap along video, feel free to do the part 2 of this series. And as always, you can subscribe, hit notifications, and leave a comment. Thanks so much.